minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
And we're live, they say. The RP show coming at you here on the Game Plus Television Network and a variety of other platforms. Glad to have you aboard. All aboard on a Wednesday. We're at Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, but I can be as loud as I want because we're upstairs in a lounge and having a lot of fun. Joe 747 Gunnis is with us, riding shotgun. What's up, Joe?
Good day, everybody.
It is a good day. It is a good day. It's a good day to have a good day. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in across Canada and 32 U.S. states. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a very big football day. We're hurtling towards the Labor Day weekend. Everybody's talking about the long weekend around here. I'm sure they are all across Canada. Even this morning, my advisor, Lisa, she's in Florida, Joe, as you know. She's like, you guys celebrate Labor Day up there?
Of course we do.
I think we started it.
Isn't it a national holiday?
Yeah. So listen, I'm going to tell you right now, get it rolling. Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033. I just popped open the text line and it's full from comments from Tuesday's show. I hope you enjoyed that, where we talked a lot of baseball and some junior hockey, but we're going to do football here for largely 2 hours. And coming up in the second hour, the sports doctor, Dave Petrishen, will be joining us. The sports doctor from Winnipeg, to give us a Blue Bomber perspective, but also a Minnesota Vikings perspective as well, as the NFL season kicks off in about 10 days' time, and he's a Minnesota Vikings season ticket holder. But are you ready to go, Joe?
I'm ready to go.
Quick Six Show horn. I brought it over here to Western Dodge. Quick Six Show topics is what we do here in the warm-up, and we're going to open with baseball. We're going to open with baseball because it is the big story for the rest of the country because the Blue Jays are winning, but not last night. Blue Jays closer Jeff Hoffman has 28 saves this season, but has converted just 2 of his past 5 save opportunities. On Tuesday, with the Jays leading the Minnesota Twins 4-3 in the ninth, Hoffman surrendered 2 home runs and took the loss after his 7th blown save of the season. The Twins 7-5 come from behind victory, leveled the 3-game series at Rogers Center at a game each. So the 3rd game is today. Look, Joe does social media, by the way, for the Moose Jaw Millers of the Western Canadian Baseball League. So if I were to call you a baseball guy, would you be comfortable with that, or would you rather be known as a social media guy?
Yeah, I'm good with any moniker, but I do love baseball.
Oh, well, are you worried about the Blue Jays because they blew a game last night?
Absolutely not. I mean, baseball's a sport. Both teams are playing, and it happens, right? What people don't look at is how many saves has he made, right? And the next thing is you're getting ready for playoff time, right? Regular season puts you hopefully in a good place and a good for playoffs, but it's playoff time. He could be as hot as it gets and roll right through.
I saw my good guy, Arash Madani, putting on Twitter last night about how big of a disaster is it that the Blue Jays blew another game. And I'm like, guys, here's my thought on that. And then we're not probably going to talk baseball the rest of the day. The trade deadline's over. So figure it out. Tom Henke's not walking through that door. Mariano Rivera's not walking through that door. So the time for the whining and the pissing and the moaning is over. Figure it out.
Well, how about we just believe in him? How can we do that for a change? Can we say, hey, look, you've gotten to where you've gotten to this year because of every facet of your game and because of the coaches and the management. Can we just believe in him down the stretch? That's what I'm saying.
So that's it. That's our baseball talk for today. You're welcome. Now, as I said, the Western Dodge text line is open. 902-518-3333. Hello, Kevin the Medium checking in, and John Ohm is here as well. He says the Jays need a closer. Get her done. No, John, the trade deadline's over. So I'm going to say it again. Figure it out with what you have. You have the most wins in the American League East, second most wins in the American League. You guys are good enough. So figure it out. To say what you need now, it's too late, bro. It's too late. So, yeah, Kevin the Medium has checked in. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, says, woohoo, new kazoo. I've had it for a while, Tony. You just have the purple one I broke, the one that you saw in Calgary. But, no, John's music that's my go-to for kazoos, just so you know.
Yeah, John's music got everything from guitars to kazoos.
They've taken over from PV Mart. If we don't have it, you don't need it. John's music in Moose Jaw. Okay, to the football, because I just can't wait. Everybody's writing in about baseball. Now, not today. I am a CFL guy. I am. 20 years in the league. I broadcast 20 Labor Day Classics. And Joe asked me this morning, what are we going to talk about? And I said, a lot of football talk. We're going to preview the games. That's the poll question today for EMJ Marketing. What is Canada's game of the week in the CFL? There are 3 options. Sunday, the traditional, the 60th Labor Day Classic, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And Dave Petrishen will be joining us to talk about that in an hour or two, but Joe has some thoughts as well. And then the traditional Monday doubleheader, the Toronto Argonauts at the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Battle of Ontario. And then I'm kind of guilty pleasure here, really excited for the Calgary-Edmonton game at McMahon. I really am.
I think so too, and I know people are going to say that Winnipeg, Saskatchewan's the game of the week, and rightly so in a lot of cases. But this Edmonton Calgary matchup has got lots of implications in the standings and for Edmonton, and wherever Trevor Harris takes the Riders will be what it'll be. But I do think the actual Edmonton Calgary game should be the game of the week.
Okay, well, then I'm not alone on that. I'm going to vote for Riders Bombers. I am. What are you voting? Be honest.
I'm going to stay with the Battle Alberta, to be honest with you, because I think that a win for Edmonton means everything to them, right, in the standings and not to mention their momentum.
Okay, everybody. Well, write in what you think is the game of the week in the Canadian Football League. That's the poll, so you can vote if you're watching on YouTube or the Western Dodge text line. Write in your thoughts as to why. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, and he says, regardless the sport, players got to play. Sometimes our favorite team's opponents just play better. Oh, he's talking about the baseball. We're moving on from baseball. I'm going to say that right now. Okay, it is the Rod Pedersen Show. It'll be topics that I want to talk. Today, it's football. Why the hell not? Tomorrow, we'll worry about tomorrow. Today, I want to get to the Labor Day Classic weekend. Kevin the Medium writes in and says, it can't be called the Labor Day Classic if it's not on Labor Day. We can call it the Labor Day Weekend Classic. Kevin, you're going to need to put that to bed. Okay? I'm just going to help you with that right now, Kev. Don't be irrational about this. We're going to call it the Labor Day Classic because they have for 60 years. And by the way, in the show topics, I have the NFL cuts, and that includes Taylor Elgersma from the Green Bay Packers and Joe from the Colts. And the thing is, none of those cuts will have anything to do with this weekend's game. However, there was 1 year that they did, and it brought the commissioner. He had to halt his weekend at Lake Muskoka, to rule on something that had to do with NFL cuts. So we'll tell that story and more. We're going to get into a lot of great fun Labor Day Classic weekend memories, plus preview the games in today's program. We're live from Western Dodge in Moose Jaw. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Nazareth's Canadian Farewell Tour is coming to Moose Jaw. Live at Temple Garden Center, October 17th. With special guest, Lee Aaron. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or sasktix.ca.
Welcome back live, everybody. As you see, we're at Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and that is my summer home. We're having a fun time. Joe, 747, Gunnis is with us here, riding shotgun. I got a lot of things I got to get to, but I'll tell you this. We had the longtime voice of the Warriors on a couple of weeks ago, the legendary Rob Carney, and I felt bad. He was there in Warriors gear, and I was not wearing Pat stuff. As the 20 seasons voice of the Regina Pats, it felt a little weird, Joe, but the Warriors gave me this. And the Moose Jaw Miller Express and yourself have outfitted me with gear. They're like, this is your home, Rod, now. And so I enjoy wearing it. What a wonderful town.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Moose Jaw. I love it here. It's big enough you can get what you want, small enough still got that small town feel. It's excellent to be in Moose Jaw, and I mean I'll implore people to come on down to Western Dodge here and visit us and say hi. For sure.
That would be a great idea too. But we brought on the Mad Greek, ultimate fan zone here in Moose Jaw, Western Dodge, obviously. So it's my home. It's my summer home. I enjoy it very much. Now, as I said, we're going to talk football, but I want to say something in Canadian Football League variety here heading into Labor Day weekend, plus those NFL cuts. But on tomorrow's show, I'll be joined interviewing. We'll all be joined by Mike Davis. He's the head coach and general manager of the Las Vegas Nighthawks, which I believe is in year 3 of the Indoor Football League, and they're just coming off the championship. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I didn't know they'd won. And I feel bad because Mike is a good friend of mine. The last we talked, I was still in Florida in the spring, and they were looking for a kicker. And I'm like, if you're looking for a kicker a week before the season starts, they're in trouble. And they went on to win the whole shooting thing. So Mike's going to come on tomorrow to not only – he worked in the CFL. He was a D-line coach with the Riders, D-line coach with the Argonauts. He played at Virginia Tech. He's a really good friend of mine. And he's going to come on the show tomorrow, an hour or two, from Las Vegas, to talk about the IFL championship and also preview this weekend's games. Now, Brian from Edmonton has written in, and he says, FYI, how much do IFL players get paid? He goes, I looked it up, $250 to $500 before taxes per game, with a $25 bonus given to players on the winning team each week. And he goes on to say maybe CAF, which was a few years ago, we talked about in an indoor league in Canada. And there were football guys willing to be part of it, but nobody wanted to lead it. CAF, the Canadian Arena League of Football. CAF, spell it out. So number one, to ask what they get paid, you're not supposed to ask anybody what they get paid. Number two, they're not playing for the money. Arlen Bruce's kids in that league, Arlen Bruce, he's playing for the opportunity to play in the CFL or maybe the NFL. It's not about the money. But as far as the indoor league goes, that happened, and Mike Davis will be on tomorrow. Just so everybody knows, we're looking forward to that. But do you remember when we talked about that CAF League, the Canadian Arena League? Do you remember that?
That was a while back. Yeah,
yeah, it was. Yeah. And one guy specifically that was willing to be involved was Devon Claybrooks, the former Dallas Cowboy, longtime Calgary Stampeder, and former BC Lions head coach. But it's like nobody's willing to step up and pull a Jarrah Jones and write a check to underwrite this thing. I tell you what, I'm not. My mind, everybody's like, Rod, lead this thing. How about no? How about no? I'm not interested.
Well, and I mean, there's so much competition for the sporting dollar, the entertainment dollar for that matter, that, I mean, you know, there's a lot of work that goes to create something like that, run it, make it sustainable. So, you know, I would be a no as well.
Yeah, so we'll be talking Indoor Football League with Mike Davis tomorrow, and Vegas sports and NFL preview too, because we're heading into fall, and fall is for football. I want to mention my breaking news bell has come from Laura in Edmonton. Sent this to me because I left my breaking news bell at Theron Fleury's golf tournament in Calgary a couple of weeks ago. Laura has written in on the Western Dodge text line, and she says, hey, Rod, I'm sorry for not checking in. I'm on vacation. I'm still watching on PVR. I love your show so much. Enjoy your day, Rod. And she goes on to say, good morning, Rod. I'm going to see Rachel Homan and her team this evening at the Co-op Food Store. I love curling, and I believe Darren DuPont does too. Have a great show today. Don't you work with Rachel Homan?
Yes.
Or for Rachel Homan?
Yes. Rachel's on EMJ Speakers team for sure, and fantastic lady, excellent keynote speaker, and tremendous curler, obviously best in the world as far as I'm concerned at this point.
So EMJ Marketing, Joe's the guy behind it. You see it on the screen. It's a speakers bureau. I'm on it. Stu Grimson's on it. Jim Barker's on it. Rachel Holman's on it. So there you go, Laura. It's weird how worlds are coming together. So, okay, not weird, a great thing. Now, John Ohm, he wants us to get back on track with the story I was talking about earlier. So thank you, John. You're usually the guy taking us off track. You're putting me back on track. So thank you, John in Winnipeg. He says the NFL to CFL story. Well, it was Labor Day weekend. It was 2011. Gather around the fire, kids. You all remember this. I'm just reminding you of it. 2011. Andy Fantuz, what do you remember about this week in 2011? Probably nothing.
Well, not the story you're talking about, obviously. So,
you don't. Okay, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No. You bring it home.
Here's why: because Taylor Elgersma gets waived, cut, whatever you want to say, by the Packers, and a Joe. The personnel people and certain fans that are really into that, and I get it. I was that guy. I'm just not that guy anymore. Sitting there hitting refresh for news, or even Nathan Rourke last year. Right? Like the BC Lions were that team wanting to know, was he going to stay in the NFL? Was he, right? And then the agents get involved. Andy Fantuz had a tryout with the Chicago Bears in 2011. This was pretty much at the peak of Rider pride. And as if we needed any more, this is what I wanted to get into today. Thank you, John Ohm, for reminding me, is these fun Labor Day weekend stories. Greg Marshall was our coach that year. Right?
Right.
So we were 1-7. As if we didn't have enough going on, that Greg Marshall was fired as our head coach, and he's a great guy. I love him, by the way, and we're bringing back Grandpa Miller. Good morning, Riders. As if the Labor Day Classic needed another spin or another level of excitement. Andy Fantuz gets cut. Now, that particular year, it was a Friday. He was cut, and the Labor Day Classic was Sunday at whatever time, like 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever it was that moves around all the time. And we, because I was so ensconced and ingrained with the Riders at the time, we were trying to get Andy on a flight out of Chicago into Regina in time to play. Right?
Yeah.
Because as he was clearly coming back to Saskatchewan to play for the Rough Riders. And Paul LaPolice was the coach of the Bombers, and it was the 7-1 Bombers against the 1-7 Rough Riders. We weren't supposed to have a hope. And it got to the point where, so we're going to sign him, and the contract gets registered with the league. Paul LaPolice stands up, the head coach of the Bombers, like, wait a minute. There is a stipulation in the rules that if a player is cut in the NFL, within a 48-hour window, he can't come back and play in the CFL. So, Paul, you probably remember all this because you're such an ardent Rider supporter.
Yeah, it's starting to come back, yeah.
Okay, so this was on the Saturday now. The Friday cut rolls over into the Saturday, and we got to get a hold of the commissioner for a ruling on whether you're going to let this happen or not. And as I remember it, now you CFL front office people that were around at the time, if I'm wrong, you tell me, but I believe Mark Cohan was out at his cabin at Lake Muskoka, whatever you people call it out there in Southern Ontario, and they're like, hey, Mark, as he's crushing a Pilsner with his dog that was named Ryder. They're like, can you rule on this, Mark? The answer, let him play. And Fantuz is playing. LaPolice throws his papers in the air, because I was there. He's like, why do we even have rules? By this point, it's the day before the game. So we're having the news conferences and everything, and the ruling came in the day before the game that Andy Fantuz is going to be allowed to play. And then we went out and motorboated the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the Labor Day Classic. It wasn't even close. Destroyed them. Somebody go back and look at the game. Just the Muskokas. Okay, thank you, producer Corey. I don't know. I've never been there. But that, to be honest, just popped in my head this morning of a cut from the NFL that significantly impacted this weekend's festivities. Because it's not going to happen this week.
No, certainly not. But, I mean, it will. It always, Labor Day always has a good tale. There's always a story coming out of Labor Day from a fan, from a cut, from a player, from teams that shouldn't winning. It's the Labor Day is always a toss-up, no matter what the records are, for sure.
So what's going around here, by the way, now, and John Ohm, please, somebody remind me what the score was in that 2011 Labor Day Classic. I mean, I called it, but I don't remember what it was. All I know is we motorboated them. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, so once again, the Riders managed to circumvent the rules. See, now that reminds me of another thing. There are it teams, have teams, and have not teams. And I've been with both. And sometimes it's the same team, right? Like through the 90s and the early 2000s, the Riders were the have not team. They became the have team. I don't know why we got those. Well, actually, I do know why we got those favors from the CFL, because when the Riders are good, it's good for business.
Yes.
Kohan knew that.
Yes.
Kohan knew that. Okay, so I get you're mad and why anybody would be mad, but is it our fault?
Absolutely not. I mean, as a team, aren't you going to push to have the best product on the field you can? I mean, if you can get around a rule, aren't you going to try? I mean, that's the name of the game. You're playing professional football.
And so John Ohm says, I love those billboards in the CFL. Remember those, Rod? Well, do I remember them? Yes, I do. The Riders, we were pretty cheeky back in the day. A lot of people didn't like us. I'd rather be disliked than pitied, because I've also been both. I can tell you which I'd rather be. And we were putting those billboards up on the road, and that didn't go over well. Well, the Bombers here are putting up billboards in Regina. I've seen them, and they say, friends don't wear friends, wear green. I mean, that's, by the way, the thing. I laughed when I saw it. But those billboards, that was circa like 2011, 2010, that we were doing. That pissed a lot of people off.
It did, but it got a lot of people talking, right? And I think there needs to be more of that. I think there needs to be and friendly though, but fun, right? And punchy and I mean, everybody enjoys those particular boards and looking at that stuff and seeing how creative you can be and riling up the fans. And I mean, that's what it's about, because the more people we have talking about it, the more people we have coming, the more experience that we have at a game. That's the whole crux of the situation, is to get more people at a game. And there was nothing like walking into a Labor Day Classic in between Bomber fans and Rider fans and chanting and going up the old Taylor Field levels. And it was crazy. It was half the fun of going.
Well, we're getting back to the way it used to be. I mean, it would be very hard to believe if you were watching this upcoming Sunday game, which a lot of people will, because the stadiums are going to be full. They're going to be full here. They're going to be full in Hamilton, probably going to be full in Calgary with what Edmonton's doing. To sit back and just think of the last few years, even at Mosaic Stadium wasn't full, I don't think, for the Labor Day Classic. One of those years. It's traditionally always sold out. But it's going to be a madhouse on Sunday. And no, I'm not going. Let's put it out there right now. But it's kind of back to the way that it used to be. And why is that? It's because both teams are good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to be treated to a great football game, and you're going to be treated to one heck of an atmosphere. Like it'll be crazy. And that's, again, 3/4 of the fun of going to the game is seeing people and seeing situations and watching a heck of a football game.
902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line as we talk CFL. Kevin, the medium's watching out there in Calgary. He's a BC Lions fan. They're not playing this weekend. Nor is Montreal, nor is Ottawa, and I don't know why. I mean, 1 minute, producer Corey tells me. We'll get into this in the next segment. Like Luke Wilson's now stirring it up again, if you've seen. He's talking about Argo's attendance. And again, all those problems with the CFL that I'm just like, clearly I'm over it. I want to talk about the games this weekend that are being played. Somebody wrote in here yesterday and said, why is Ottawa Montreal not playing if it's rivalry weekend? I'm like, I don't know. I don't answer for the CFL. Ask them. If you want to just air a grievance, sure, I'll pass that along, but I'm not going to sit here and scratch my head and answer what should be an obvious question or answer that Ottawa and Montreal should be playing on rivalry weekend.
100%.
But it's not my cross to bear. And it's not Luke Wilson's either, so he gets suspended for a week from tweeting about the CFL, soft suspension, and now he's back asking the questions we've been asking for years, expecting different answers. We'll see how this goes. We'll be right back here live on Game Plus Television. Don't go anywhere.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, we're live at Western Dodge and Moose Jaw. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge and Moose Jaw. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. Plus, are you craving the famous Greek ribs everyone in Moose Jaw is talking about? Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Dine in, pick up, or order online at themadgreekeatery.com. It's a happening little town. I feel like that should be the next slogan. You guys have several slogans here.
Too many slogans.
It's a happening little town. Moose Jaw, and they've been so great to me, and I love it here. And I'm enjoying every single second until I head back to Florida here before too long. Okay, it's going fast, which we knew that it would.
Absolutely.
You haven't even said anything.
No. Not of substance.
Yeah, 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line, and we're going to get to that. Daryl Slade, which I think you were watching, Daryl, from Calgary. He's the Stampeders historian, and I said on the air yesterday, I hope you were watching, that I've started your book, the Stampeder Special about the 1948 season. And I'm really, really, really enjoying it. And so Daryl has written in on the text line and says, Rod, the Riders won the 2011 Labor Day Classic over Winnipeg 27-7. So thank you. That was the reminder of the story of Andy Fantuz coming back from the NFL, which Cohan ruled that he could play, but then when LaPolice threw such a stink about it, I can't remember if he actually did play or not. If it doesn't matter. Riders went on to roll. which we always do in the Labor Day Classic. And yes, I did just say we. But the Stampeder Special, Daryl, can you tell me where you can buy that book? Because any CFL fans, you don't need to be a Stampeder fan to enjoy that book. It is available now. You just got to tell me where, and I've been enjoying it. It was the only perfect season in CFL history, 1948 for the Calgary Stampeders. For those that don't know, are you ready to do you want to do picks?
We can definitely do picks.
Okay, for Pump Jacks Cathedral, come early, stay late. Where at the place where friends meet, Pump Jacks Cathedral. I was just there yesterday. They do our picks, and they're going to do NFL picks coming up this season as well. I got the point spreads here, courtesy Cool Bet Canada. Winnipeg. We're gonna basically be deal or no deal is what we're gonna do.
Sure.
Did you look at the point spreads because I wrote them down here?
No,
be honest.
No, I did not actually. I can't see that far.
How far? Okay, who do you think's favored in the Labor Day Classic in Mosaic Stadium, and by how much?
Winnipeg 5 points.
Riders are favored by 6. I feel like you shouldn't get involved in the betting space.
Probably not. Probably a good idea.
Riders favored by 6. I'll go first and say I'm taking that bet. It's a check from me, dog. I'll take Riders to cover a 6-point spread over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here on Sunday. Laughable. Should be a double-digit victory for Canada's team.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there 100% there as well because, you're in Mosaic. It's sold out. There's no way the Riders lose.
Check marks for both of us. Riders to cover in the Labor Day Classic. Next week, we'll talk about next week in the Banjo Bowl. Monday's doubleheader. Toronto Argonauts, the Scullers at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Did you look?
No.
Who do you think's favored in that one? This is a tough one. I'm not even going to do that to you. The Ticats are favored by 4. I wouldn't have had no idea what to pick for that.
Only 4?
Yeah.
All right.
Deal or no deal?
I'll take the Ticats. I'll take the deal.
They'll cover by 4?
They'll cover by 4.
I'm going to say no. It's a no from me, dog.
Why is that?
I'm an Argos closet sucker for the Argos, to be honest.
Fair.
It's just their jerseys. What can I tell you? I love their jerseys. And I really don't like Bo Levi Mitchell. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I had no clue there was a history there. Not at all.
So, yeah, I'm taking the Argos. Sorry, Toronto. And because my picks aren't usually that good. And Edmonton at Calgary in what Joe's calling Canada's game of the week. Do you really believe that that's Canada's game of the week?
I really believe because the team that wins that game is setting themselves up for a good run. Labor Day games are important, but if you look at it, Edmonton wins, they're back in the mix big time, right? Calgary wins, they're climbing up the hill again, and then we can start the argument of who's the best team in the CFL is again, which we like to do because it's fun.
It's funny, we'll finish these picks and then I'll get to these comments from the viewers. Kirk in Toronto writes in and says, "Hey Rod," he's watching on Game Plus TV. Pinball says the return of receiver McKay Polk is medicine for the soul. Oh, and it's the beautiful Muskokas. Yes, yes, yes. You know who that imitation is?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Okay, well, that's why you never bet against pinball.
Yeah.
And I'm not betting. He is.
Yeah, I am.
That's like going against God, And speaking of, Jim in, where is he? Belgoni, Sask. Glad you asked. He writes in and he says, "I'm looking forward to seeing mine Cody, put a beating on the Stampeders. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to take the Edmonton Elcamos to go into Calgary and whip the Stampeders into the ground." I am. And by the way, Stamps are favored by 9, so clearly I'm not taking that. But how about you, Joe?
I got to go with the Stampeders. As much as I would like the scenario to play out because it makes things really interesting for Edmonton to win, I just think Calgary's got the real team, and with Vernon Adams, they're going to make some noise for sure.
Joe's taking all the bets. Riders to cover the 6-point spread, Ticats to cover the 4-point spread, and Calgary to cover the 9-point spread. And by the way, this is why I don't bet. I don't gamble. We do sport betting. It's like sport fishing, which I picked up in Florida because I'm not a fisherman that when I went down there, I didn't even know what that was. And I said to them, "What is sport betting?" Sport fishing. And they said, "Oh, when we catch the fish and we throw them back."
Yeah.
Why would you do that? As my guy Chris from the Bronx says, because Chris, are you watching? We've caught so many fish together. He takes pictures and then throws them back. He goes, the pictures last longer. That's what Chris from the Bronx says. So for us, sport betting is where we make the picks, but we don't put money on them. It's quite safe thing to play, and for whatever reason, the gambling companies haven't jumped on that. I get why. Yeah. But we're okay for betting safe and keeping safe. John Ohm, I love him, and I'm teasing you, John, but he's answering questions that I didn't even ask. He says the Toronto Argonauts beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the 1997 Grey Cup 47-23. I know that, but why? Well, maybe somebody was asking about that, but I wasn't. And by the way, maybe we should say this. Joe 747 Gunners is with us. He is our business manager, but he also hosts the Ratio podcast. And as we talk with producer Corey about us going to air in Las Vegas beginning September 29th daily on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, he says what they like down there in Vegas about this show is the interactive component of the show. Can you imagine, with all these CFL fans that we go back and forth with, if we got that going with the NFL, which we obviously will, that's going to be insane.
Well, I think it's the next step, right? I mean, at some point, the Grey Cup will be played, and it'll be time to talk football in the U.S. So, looking forward to everybody's comments, and we are so interactive, and that makes the show so much more fun.
Producer Corey from Skycron just said we will do that with the NFL fans. It's going to be wild, and I also see Corey saying you can't eat pictures. Regarding my friend Chris from the Bronx saying we take pictures of the fish. The pictures last longer. It reminds me of I was driving around Calgary with my dad. I was about 14, and we're looking at the mountains, and I was like, Dad, these mountains are really awesome. And my dad goes, yeah, well, you can't eat mountains. Did you know what he meant, Joe, as a Saskatchewan farmer?
Yep, 100%.
This isn't where we grow our wheat, son. This isn't where we grow our grain.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
But I also don't know if you can beat a great field when it's ready to be harvested right before and watching it blow in the wind. I'll tell you, it's quite something to see if you haven't.
Hey, thank you. Okay, so the Calgary and Edmonton and Alberta CFL fans are standing up. I love this because we'll go on about the Riders and the Bombers all day if you let us. BW in Edmonton writes in and he says, first game for new Elkamos head coach Mark Killam in Calgary since leaving the Stampeders. Correct. Oh, yeah, and I bet it didn't bother him at all about being fired by the Calgary Stampeders. What do you think, Joe?
Well, I would think that'll add some to be walking through those doors, right?
Why are we the first ones to talk about it? And why did it take BW from Edmonton to point that out? We would have got there.
Eventually. Yeah.
We would have got there eventually. Mark Killam's return. Where's the billboards? Where's the talk?
Well,
right here.
That's where it's got to be.
It's right here as we get ready to kick off the second biggest football weekend of the year, Labor Day Classic weekend in Canada. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're live from Western Dodge and Moose Jaw. Thanks for joining us as we are live on Game Plus Television, Canada-wide, coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, and 32 U.S. states. Streaming live on YouTube, podcast form, and, of course, 1700 AM Mission Radio. I will say this, as we talk amongst ourselves, Joe and producer Corey, there is a heavy CFL interest in America. That's a fact. And the games do it. All the games this weekend are on CBS Sports Network, cable television, I should mention, in the U.S. as they get, well, it is week one until the college football season. I understand that too. But they're paying attention to these CFL games as well. Were you going to say something before I move on here? I feel like you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say I think the viewership too in the U.S. on the CFL. I mean, we've got a lot of people that spend their winters down there, have traveled down there, or are down there, and they do bring their love for the CFL as well. So it can only grow in the U.S. as well.
I get asked every single day, why, Rod, is your show so popular in the U.S.? I don't know the answer, but what I'm turning to and now saying is I blame God. That's all I can say. If there's no explanation, God is the reason.
That can't argue with
If you got a better one, let me know. That's what I've come up with. Okay. Breaking news in our Cool Bet Canada sports update. Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has been suspended for 6 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. This suspension follows his guilty plea to 2 third-degree felony charges related to a March 2024 crash in Dallas. The NFL's decision comes after an internal investigation and voids a scheduled hearing. Rice will miss several high-profile games, including the season opener against the Chargers in Brazil and a Super Bowl rematch with the Eagles. He will be eligible to return on October 19th when Kansas City faces the Raiders, which, by the way, before we go any further, and we're on this NFL topic, next Thursday, week from tomorrow, NFL kickoff party at Pump Jacks Cathedral in Regina. We'll be there. Joe will be there. Sponsors will be there. Producer Corey says he'll be there. We would love to have you there. We've got prizes from Ultimate Fan Zone from the Cowboys and the Eagles. It is a 6:20 p.m. kickoff, so join us for that at Pump Jacks Cathedral. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. The Toronto Blue Jays will be aiming to win a series tonight after blowing an opportunity to do so last night. The Jays hand the ball to lefty Eric Lauer to face the Minnesota Twins in the rubber match of their 3-game series at Rogers Center. Righty Simeon Woods Richardson will start for the Twins, who lost 10-4 on Monday and bounced back last night with a 7-5 come-from-behind victory. And Keegan Bradley decides today whether to become the first playing captain in the Ryder Cup since 1963. Bradley is one of the top Americans. The Ryder Cup captaincy takes up a lot of time. If he plays and the Americans lose at Bethpage Black, critics will suggest it's because he had too much on his plate and should have picked someone else. If he doesn't play and the Americans lose, critics will say he didn't put forth the best team. Stay tuned. Golf drama. Oh, my God. Sports headlines are for Cool Bet Canada. Get a welcome bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. I talked about this yesterday. As we head into the NFL season and college football season, you are going to probably want to do some sport betting, so why not do it with our official betting partner, Cool Bet Canada, and they will match with a welcome bonus. Whatever your deposit is, they'll match it up to $200. Laverne in Swift Current writes in on the Western Dodge text line and says, "Hey, RP, I'm sure you probably knew this, but I thought it was interesting. Saskatchewan holds the edge over Winnipeg in Labor Day Classic history with a 38-21 record. Banjo Bowl, the other way, the return engagement is 13-7 for Winnipeg over the 13-7 for Winnipeg over the Riders. So this is the 60th Labor Day Classic, and Joe is the lifelong Rough Riders fan. I should ask you, what is your favorite?
Well, I don't know that there's a favorite game, but I will tell you it was always a treat to get to go to a game, especially living in rural Saskatchewan. And I remember it was, back in the old Taylor Field days and sitting on Hemorrhoid Hill. It was the best thing in the whole wide world with mom and dad and the family, and just watching the players, and being so close to the field was huge. And they'd catch a football and come running through the end zone and almost right into the hill. It was where I truly found the love for CFL football, and I'll never forget those memories from those Labor Day games for sure.
Most people around here, and actually, since we're on the national audience, anybody tell me who your favorite Labor Day Classic game, whatever, Ontario, Alberta, this one here. Everybody says 2007. Kerry Joseph sprinting 27 yards with 27 seconds to go to provide the winning points for the Rough Riders as we went on to win the Grey Cup that year over those same Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Everybody says 07. But for me, and there were many, but 1999 was my first at the microphone as the voice of the Rough Riders. How can you forget that? And we won. I don't remember the score, but never won another game. We won to go to 3-6 only, and then lost the next 9 under Cal Murphy. And the fit hit the shan. Al Ford quit, our general manager. He said, if we don't make the playoffs, I'll resign. That's how much faith he had in the crew. Problem was we had a quarterback who had a tough time remembering to show up for games. That's not a joke.
No, that isn't a joke.
I'll say it again. We had a quarterback who had a tough time remembering to show up for games.
Unreal.
Yeah,
the stories are crazy. The story, like you're a professional football player, and oops.
We went 3-15 that year. The team was $3 million in debt. We had the worst stadium in the league, and it was a blessing for me. I've always looked at it as a blessing because every day since after that was up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to look at all these things, and I mean, how do you forget something like that? You don't, right? It's those things are ingrained, and then each year you just build on it. And I think that's one thing the CFL has is its Labor Day rivalries, and they need to shout that from the rooftops, as do the teams and as do the fans. I mean, it's great to have some interaction here with fans from other Labor Day places, right? So I'm sure you got a few comments anyways.
I hope you're enjoying it. I feel like it's just me and Joe telling football stories with our friends. Rich in Edmonton writes in and he says, who would that have been? His name, by the way, was Reggie Slack. He wasn't a bad guy. Was not a bad guy at all. Not at all. I loved Reggie. Just had a tough time remembering to show up for games. And it's unfortunate because Texas Longhorns coach Steve Sarkisian was the second-string quarterback on that team. So Steve got pressed into service, and Steve just had such a bad experience with the CFL vis-a-vis the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Reggie that after the bomb went off, after that 99 season, and our GM quit and the coach quit, and Steve's like, I'm out. And he got into coaching right away, actually, with the Oakland Raiders, and never came back. And there was guys, Dan Farthing, Rough Rider great, Hall of Famer receiver, tried to get him up here. He's like, you would love this offense under Danny Barrett. And Sark's like, I'm good. And I don't believe he has set foot in Canada ever since, to be honest with you. NFL note, and there's college football notes coming in here too. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes in, he says, Shiloh Sanders cut and Shadur makes the Browns roster. I would have guessed it would have been the other way around. Yeah, well, you're the Browns fan, so you tell me more. Like Kenny Nagunst, don't say it, Joe.
I won't.
Was on here last week, and he said if he was the GM of the Browns, which incidentally he's the GM of the indoor league team in Amarillo, Texas, he goes, I'd keep Shadur to sell jerseys. And I thought, would teams actually do that? But maybe they are.
Well, if Jerry Jones has taught us anything, is that you got to take every opportunity to make some scratch wherever you can, and that would be an opportunity.
Well, and with the case of Shiloh, I know you're not following Shiloh as much, Tony, because you're not a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, but he got kicked out of the game on the weekend for the Bucs and took a costly, I think it was pass interference penalty. And it's like when you're a borderline player, which Shiloh is, and you're only there as a favor to the agent, you can't be doing stuff like that. So for those two reasons is why I think what happened is what you saw. Shiloh cut because he did some dumb things in the preseason, and Shadur is made the team because for business. It's good for business.
Well, and I mean, honestly, just because of who your dad is doesn't mean that you're NFL caliber, right? So when you have big shoes you're walking in with, you've got all those things, you got to make sure you're ready to go, and doing things like that is going to get you a walking papers really quick.
You know, it's funny, by the way, Scott in Vancouver writes, and he says, I see that Shiloh's CFL rights were acquired by the Argos. Yeah, they were. You know, I used to say, you guys have been watching the show for a long time, that those neg list players never do come across the border. But then I kind of sat back and thought, well, they actually do. The percentage is low. I think it's less than 10%. But to say that Shiloh Sanders would never come to the CFL, or Ben DiNucci, who the Rough Riders have added to theirs, Johnny Manziel did. Michael Sam did. Chad Ochocinco Johnson did. So it's not that Ricky Williams did, right?
Yeah, you're low percentage, but and I mean, none of them really turned out to be anything over the top special. But I mean, you could see these two are young, right? So if they do have the opportunity to come up, they might have a good career up here. Who knows?
Folks, get your questions and comments in. Hour one is already in the books. Can you believe that?
That's all. Yeah, goes quick.
Yeah, you going to stick around for another segment?
I can stick around, yeah.
All right, and the sports doctor, Dave Petrishen, coming up in hour two to give a Bomber side of this. And we're going to talk about the Vikings as well, as he is a Vikings season ticket holder. We're live on the Game Plus television network, coast to coast in Canada, 32 U.S. states, streaming live, podcast form, and 1700 AM Mission Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show's Hour 2. As you see, it's a special on-location broadcast today at Western Dodge here in beautiful Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Canada. As Peter Zosky said, you probably don't. You don't even... Do you know who Peter Zosky is?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Some people don't. Some people don't. Legendary CBC broadcaster here in Canada. Peter Zosky said the most Canadian of all Canadian cities. Did you know that?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, you heard that? Okay. I should not have discounted. I should have known that, Mr. Moose Jaw over here. That's where we are. Western Dodge and Moose Jaw. Are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. Check us out here in the Band City. I'm going to read this before we move on. If you're just joining us for Hour 2, you're joining late. It's like those that say the CFL season doesn't kick off until Labor Day. Where you been? Where you been? Laverne and Swift Current writes in on the Western Dodge text line because I was referring to Alan Ford, our general manager, who after the 1999 season, my first in the CFL, resigned from the post as general manager of the Rough Riders because he put his job on the line. Al's that kind of guy. I love him. From the University of Pacific. He said, we don't make the playoffs, I will resign. And he did. And Laverne and Swift Current writes in, he says, one of the most memorable signs I remember at a Labor Day Classic was in 1997 or 98 was you can't have a Ford as a GM. He said, you have a right to dodge that comment.
Nice.
Leave the comedy to us, Laverne and Swift Current. 902-518-3033. So as you see, it feels like a Friday, but it's not a Friday. Joe, 747 Gunnis, sorry. The original was Joe Adams.
That's right.
Rough Riders quarterback. Joe Gunnis is here riding shotgun, the host of the Ratio podcast and also our business manager here. And I know you're having fun about this. I'll get into your comments in a second. The Quick Six show topics are an absolute yard sale today. And put that on me. That's my fault. But I just felt like as we get ready to roll into the second biggest weekend of the year football-wise, let's talk a lot of football. But for those that weren't here an hour ago, the Quick Six show topics are, number one, the big story, the Blue Jays blowing a lead in the ninth inning last night and falling to the Minnesota Twins 7-5, and everybody's saying that, they're going to need a closer. They're not going anywhere. Trade deadline's over, guys. Figure it out. Because, again, Tom Henke is not walking through that door. I'm not worried. Are you worried?
No. I mean, they're the best in the league at this point, right? Like, go up and win it. I mean, that's what's going to happen. The games are just that, one game. That's it.
So that was our first topic, and the Jays go for the series win today at Rogers Center. Number two is CFL Labor Day Classic weekend, and we kind of got hung up on that. We went through our picks, which, by the way, Riders favored by 6 over Winnipeg in Sunday's Mosaic Stadium Labor Day Classic. Joe's taken that, Riders to cover, as am I. And the Monday doubleheader is the Toronto Argonauts at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Tabbies favored by 4. Joe's taking that deal. I'm not. I got the Argos to win. And Edmonton at Calgary in what Joe thinks is the game of the week. That's our poll question today. We do it every Wednesday, every week during the CFL season. What's the game of the week? He voted for the Stamps and the Elks at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Calgary favored by 9, and in a way, I feel like that is a whopping spread. He's taking it. I'm not, because I'm cheering for mine, Cody. That's why I'm a sucky sports bettor. I've got too big of a heart with my players. But I guess Calgary's the best team in the CFL, so to take on Edmonton, we probably shouldn't be surprised. The spread is 9.
No, I don't think we should be surprised. I think Calgary, like I said, with Vernon Adams, healthy, they're rolling. I mean, they put up a great game against the Riders last week, and I really think that they're gonna cause some havoc in the standings. And that game is so pivotal because a win by either team there puts them in a way better situation standing wise. Obviously, Winnipeg Edmonton win this week, puts both teams in a race with the Riders and the Stamps. So it's a real interesting week here, as are all Labor Days.
Dave Petrishen joins us in the next segment, the sports doctor from Winnipeg. Longtime media guy there, Bombers season ticket holder, Vikings season ticket holder. We'll get into some NFL with the sports doctor coming up in the next segment. The third point was NFL cuts. And if you really want to know my thoughts on that, I spend more time on it in my commentary today, which runs on Joe's LTD radio and Sask radio. I get it's a big deal for the personnel people and the fans that are into that. But I don't fall into either of that category. And it reminds me of the story, 2011, Chicago Bears are releasing Andy Fantuz, one of the greatest stars the Rough Riders have ever had. Cut him on a Friday. And was he going to get back in time to play Sunday in the Labor Day Classic and sign with Saskatchewan? I mean, things can move quick when you want them to. Get the paperwork done and everything. And so we were going to have him come back and play in the Labor Day Classic. And Paul LaPolice, the coach of the Bombers, threw a fit. And I say that because he's like family to me.
Fair enough.
I'll see him probably this Saturday night, I would think, in the night before the Labor Day Classic. He throws a fit and says, that's against the rules. He's just doing his job, right? There was a 48-hour window that after an NFL cut, you can't play within 48 hours of being cut in the NFL. And the commissioner, Mark Cohan, ruled otherwise. And Lapol's like, why do we have rules? Which he's not wrong. If you look at it from his perspective.
No, and I mean, he's protecting his team. He wants the benefit of not having to game plan for Fantuz, right?
And that's what got me going down this road of great Labor Day weekend memories. And that was the year that the Riders had to fire Greg Marshall as head coach after a 1-7 start in his rookie season. Ken Miller, Grandpa Miller, returns to the sidelines as the hero, as if we needed any more drama going into that weekend. And the Riders went on to win 27-7, and I'm pretty sure Fantuz did end up playing in the game. So anyways, as I've been saying for the past several weeks, how many NFL cuts? And I needed to clarify this because some people didn't get what I meant, and that's on me. I said, how many NFL cuts over the years showed up on this week, because it's always NFL cut down, and miraculously turned around a season? Like, yeah, Dressler came back from the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Fentouz came back from the Bears. I'm talking about a guy that nobody's ever heard of. You know, like a freak that was cut by the Buccaneers and showed up and magically took a team to the Grey Cup. That doesn't happen.
No, not at all. And the thing is about all these cuts, right, is we don't know that they are going to come up here. They're going to shop around and see what else is happening on other teams, all those types of things before they come back up here. It's different than a Dressler and a Burris and those guys. When they got cut, this was their plan to come back up here, right? So, I mean, these other cuts are looking to see what other options they have before making any attempt at coming up north of the border. That's my opinion.
Well, and that's the point, is all these NFL transactions are like drinking from a fire hose. That's all that I'm saying. And to be honest with you, once the NFL season kicks off, which next week is week 1, and here's another shameless promotion to come to our NFL kickoff party at Pump Jacks Cathedral in Regina, we'll be talking a lot more about it. It's just too much. And by the way, Blaine is watching in Regina. Thank you, Blaino, for writing in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, Adam Thielen traded back to the Vikings. Thoughts? Pause that for a second, because we've got the sports doctor, Dave Petrishen, coming in the next segment. He is a Viking season ticket holder, and he will have some thoughts. And I'm really interested to get his thoughts on the preseason play of J.J. McCarthy, who is a rookie, even though he's in the second year of his contract. Didn't play a lot in the preseason. And now he's got another weapon here in Adam Thielen. So we'll see what Dave Petrishen has to say about that, Blaine. So just hang on. Point 4 was Labor Day Classics stories, and we've got people writing in with what were their favorites. You mentioned those early ones. Did you give me a specific year?
No, just it was early when I was a young feller.
Okay.
So lots of years ago.
Yeah. Do we want to go that?
No, probably not.
All right. Well, it was 20. Help me out here, folks. 2016. Like, you all forget a lot of things. We all do. Time goes on. What was the story I was telling the other day that you said you forgot? The Dudney incident.
Yeah. Totally forgot that story.
Well, Riders started 8-1 in 2013, and then we have 3 players charged for their role in a brawl outside a nightclub in downtown Regina back in 2013. And then we touched off a 4-game losing streak, right? And people forget about this stuff. That's why you got me around, as far as Rider history goes, not CFL wide. But I think it was 2016, the first year under Chris Jones, that Kendall Lawrence scored on a punt return touchdown on the last play of the game to win it for the Rough Riders. And the Riders had been jobbed, we thought, on a pass interference call against Justin Cox like a minute before that was going to cost us the game. And then Kendall Lawrence returned, who I still keep in touch with. God bless the players. On the final play of the game, nobody ever talks about that. But I remember screaming into the microphone, "What a classic!" Remember that?
The problem is that nobody really pays attention to that game winner. Like, it's about all the other stories around it. So it was a great call. There's no doubt about that. But if you're asking about the ending, I did not recall that in 2016.
Well, and that's when these stories come up. Obviously, is Labor Day week, right? So we're asking our audience and our viewers today, what is your favorite Labor Day Classic game? I don't know. We're getting a lot of great answers here. And to be honest, a lot of the Alberta fans are standing up. I feel like CFL football in Alberta has really caught fire here.
Well, and I hope so, right? Because it's always been a hotbed of rivalries and activity out there, for sure.
Well, their teams got good. Let's not forget that. The Calgary Stampeders are the best team in the CFL right now, and you can't argue that. I mean, you understand Rough Riders fans are going to argue that, and I see the wars that are being waged back and forth. That's just fans, right? The Rider fans are saying, well, our record's better. Yeah, well, we beat you twice. Yep. Both are right.
Yep, and I mean, Edmonton's surge as well over the last few games is adding fuel to that fire too. So, I mean, the fans should be out there supporting and watching and having a great time at this Classic.
Well, not only have the Calgary Stampeders gone from the worst team in the league to the best team in the league. So that's a shot in the arm in Calgary. It didn't hurt that the Riders were in town last weekend for their biggest crowd in years. I don't know. You tell me, Alberta, is that going to be a bigger crowd on Monday than last week? It's going to be putting a lot of money in the coffers for the Calgary Stampeders, I can tell you that. And then for the Edmonton Eskimos, what have they won now? 3 in a row under Cody Fajardo? And it's just, how many times does this guy need to part the Red Sea before people realize that he's special? I'm sure he's wondering the same thing.
Yeah, he's got to be frustrated with some of it for sure. But, kudos to his aptitude to go out there and just do it, right? Like he gets knocked down, he stands back up, goes out there, runs the show, does it, then goes to another team, does what he needs to do, right? And that's a testament to his character and to his talent. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here on the weekend. I'll be watching.
I thank those for acknowledging the 11:11 Mountain, 1:11 Eastern. I don't know where Carlos from Indianapolis is today. He's usually right on top of that every day, but thank you, BW in Edmonton, for pointing that out. Again, we went through the picks. To be honest with you, and those are some of the Labor Day stories, was my fourth point of the Quick Six show topics. Number 5 was hockey talk. We got some of that out of the way yesterday with Dante DeCuria, who was an outstanding guest, the voice of the Regina Pats. Warriors training camp opening here tomorrow in Moose Jaw. And my 6th point of the Quick Six is randoms. And I'm going to be honest with you. I turn on Sports Center every morning, have it on in the house. The golf, the tennis, it ain't really hitting me.
No, I'll agree with you there. I mean, we definitely need the Moose back because he follows that way closer than I do. That's for sure.
Well, by the way, I did speak with the Moose this morning, Darren DuPont. For his own reasons, he will announce what's the next chapter of his life. He's still part of this program. Trust me, he is. But he's a busy kid. And he just got back from the Jeux Canada Games, which I never did hear a win total. Did you hear a medal total count on that?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I should have looked it up.
Yeah, well, somebody want to tell me who won the Jeux Canada Games? Because I didn't hear, but Moose was there as part of the Team Saskatchewan contingent. And now he's back in Toronto doing his new thing. And I feel like, I know, it's his story to tell. So Moose will be coming on this show at his leisure, his convenience. Yes. How about that? The one thing he told me on the phone this morning is that he's extremely busy with this new opportunity that he has. So I said, listen, when you're able to come on the show, you let me know. But with the announcement of the September 29th, we begin airing in Las Vegas on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Channel through Fox 5 Las Vegas. Darren is one of many, many broadcasters who have been ringing up my phone saying, how do I get in on this?
Yeah, it's great for the show to move forward and get another market and that type of thing, and testament to our great fans that are watching the show, and now we can reach out to other areas. And the whole thing is that our crews all together. The Moose will still be here. We'll all be here bringing this every day, just expanding where we can get to. That's so exciting.
Well, like I say, things will change, but not a lot. And I will tell you that they will all change for the better beginning September the 29th. And Darren is going to be a part of that. He's pretty excited. He's like, Fox, that's Tom Brady. That's Joe Buck. I think you've all seen Darren on the air enough to know how he would say that. We're all very excited about that. When we come back, the sports doctor, Dave Petrishen, will be joining us to talk about Labor Day Classic and answer your Vikings questions specifically and any other NFL-related questions. Great job, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be back in a moment. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network streaming, podcast, and 1700 AM Mission Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
RP Show continues live from Western Dodge in Moose Jaw. You'd think I'd have this ready to go. Hour 2 brought to you in part by The Mad Greek for legendary ribs, delicious pizza, and late-night bites. It's The Mad Greek Eatery, open till 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in. Check out their website, themadgreekeatery.com. Dave Petrishen is neither mad nor Greek. He's got my favorite shirt on. How you doing, sports doctor?
Fantastic. I finally got granted your wish and wore the shirt on the show.
How many times have I asked you to wear that thing on the air?
Every time I'm on.
Yeah, okay, so every time. It's every time, yeah. David,
yeah.
I can't wait to see you. It's Labor Day. Is this the best highlight of your year, Labor Day Classic weekend, or not?
It truly is. It's the back-to-back. It's the back-to-back with the game on Sunday and then the return matchup, the Banjo Bowl, the following Saturday. And it was way more fun when you used to come to town for the Banjo Bowl because we get to see it twice. But we're going to take what we can get this weekend.
Does it feel like old times now? And if so, because to me it does. Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, we're never out of contact, but I guess it's a much more special when we get to see each other in person. Like last year when we left Baller's Rec Room to go to Crave and Derek Taylor was there, Rod Smith was there, Paul Appolice was there. That was just a great meeting of the sports play-by-play media guys.
Yeah, it was fun. But I mean, as far as the Labor Day Classic weekend goes, there had been some steam lost over the past few years. You weren't coming over, right? And a lot of Bomber fans were not, but now you wouldn't miss it. And I'm kind of wondering what changed other than maybe because the Bombers and Riders have been good for a while, but now both teams are very good. That's what I'm saying. I feel like these games this week and next are like the old days.
Yeah. Well, I explained that. I think the last time I was there with the old Mosaic Stadium was the 55-0 loss. Tim Burke's first game as head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers after they dumped Paul LaPolice. And I got to tell you something. And it's probably the same with the old Canad Inn Stadium. When the Saskatchewan Roughriders moved into their beautiful new stadium, it was a better class of people. That's for sure. I was no longer. We came for the opening day. It was the Rough Riders versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We weren't getting pelted with peanuts and ripped up beer cans and hit with flags. It was a great environment. And the excitement from opening day at Mosaic Stadium till now has still been the same. It's a great game day experience. And I'm sure people that came to Winnipeg probably thought the same thing when they came. But for something about this, it's just upped both teams' games. And aside from 2023, when I had a wedding on that Sunday, I haven't missed one since then. So it's been great. And the last two have been 2023, 2024 have been just ultra competitive games. And I'm looking forward to this. I know that in the last segment, you explained that the Rough Riders were, I think, 6-point favorites. I think that's what you said. But, it's going to be with Dalton Schoen returning to the Winnipeg Blue Bomber lineup. And we're seeing some more clicking that we saw last week with the Bomber win. I think it's going to be a very competitive game.
Yeah, it's funny. We've done an hour and 20 some minutes of the show today and have not actually got into the games. I guess we got a few more days to do that on the program. And your boy Abu is going to be on with us on Friday, which is a Labor Day weekend tradition that we have him on the Friday. But like I feel like it's a bigger game for Winnipeg than it is the Riders, to be perfectly honest with you. I do, but I shouldn't speak for the Bombers. Give me your perspective on what this game means for the Blue and Gold.
Well, most people say that the CFL season really doesn't begin until September, until Labor Day. And that's absolutely the case. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers got off to a lousy start last year. And we're a bit better this year with the 6-4 record. Saskatchewan's been knocking out of the park, except for the devastating loss last week in Calgary. So I think, the 5-time Grey Cup finalists and the 8-2 Saskatchewan Roughriders, this just makes a marquee matchup. This is just like going to be a test for both teams. Is Saskatchewan for real, and are the Winnipeg Blue Bombers ready to get back and be in the Grey Cup in their own home stadium in November? So that's why. And both fan bases are absolutely incredible. But we're talking, I think we're going to be the Banjo Bowl in a week will be our 12th consecutive sellout at Princess Auto Stadium. So it's just football's gone mad in Manitoba with the success of the Bombers, the success of the events, what Wade Miller has done. We've talked about this at length before. Football is premier right now. We haven't gone into hockey season yet, but it's right at the first and foremost of everybody's mind. And even if you're not at Mosaic Stadium on Sunday, there's more and more places. I'm just reading online just before we went on the air. This place is hosting the party on the Sunday. This place is, and this is the way it used to be. I bet you probably the late 80s, early 90s. It was like when there wasn't a restaurant bar, a lounge anywhere in town that wasn't showing the game. And so this is it's getting back to where it's back to where it's used to be. And it's just a credit to both football fan bases.
Well, that's what I was fumbling to get out of my mouth, is that it feels like the old days. But, we had your boy Bob Irving on Knuckles last week. And I said, where are we on the Bombers? Like, is the window closing? Is it closed? And I say that respectfully. You know how I would talk to Knuckles and how I feel about your franchise, Dave. But you've had some knocks in games. Calgary's wailed on you, and you are hosting the Grey Cup. You're hosting the Grey Cup. Like here in 2013, when we were in that situation, the team president, Jim Hobson, said to Brendan Tammet and Corey Chamberlain, win it or you're gone. Walked out of the office. And they did. They did.
Yeah.
What's the pressure in Winnipeg like that? Have you heard, or what do you think?
I haven't heard such a drastic statement, but I don't think anybody has the panic button on. Like again, like how we started last year with the 4 consecutive losses, and I think the 8 games in, I think we might have been 2-6. I might be wrong on that, but it wasn't. It was grim, and the Bombers rebounded. I think they won 11 straight the end of the season, and then win the playoff game, and boom, you're back in it. So you're never out of it. We're in 3rd spot right now. Yes. Like you just said, Calgary in the last segment, Calgary is the best team in the Canadian Football League, beating Saskatchewan twice, beating the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's something. It's going to be something to see these 2 teams, how they rebound after those Calgary losses, and what comes the second half of the season, the most important half as we march towards the playoffs. But I haven't heard that drastic statement yet, win or you're gone, to Kevin Walters or Mike O'Shea.
That we know of.
No.
John Ohm in Winnipeg, big Rider fan, says Willie Jefferson will be pumped for this game. Willie, you should still be in green, bro. Well, I'll tell you what. Money talks, Mr. Whalen, and the Bombers paid Willie. That might be the best investment in Bomber history, Dave. What do you think?
I have to agree. I mean, there's nobody that, like, he's so entrenched in Winnipeg. No one ever realized. I don't think anybody realizes that he played on other teams before. He's been so entrenched in this community, been part of so many great teams, a staple in the community. His wife with the little girl run around the field after the games and things like that. He's truly makes his home around here year round and stuff. So he's out about everywhere, and whether it be like, it's almost like the old days when football players were at car dealerships on the weekend and shaking hands and kissing babies. That's Willie Jefferson.
Oh, it's funny that John would say that, because it's hard to believe that he was ever a Rough Rider, to be honest. It was a fleeting time. They didn't win when he was here. And, I don't need to get into why he left. But I'll say this. We've criticized the Rider regime over the last while, frankly, since Chris Jones left. And while they haven't won anything yet, sitting at 8-2, Dave, it's pretty hard to poke holes in their roster or what they're like right now. It's going to be a hell of a second half, dude. It's going to be a hell of a second half is what it's going to be.
Yeah. We saw the Saskatchewan Roughriders starting to bubble last year. Like, we knew something was going. It was I don't want to say culture change, but there was just an attitude change, and there was no. And I think everybody, professional athletes, has a focus on winning, but I think that desire to win really, really came out last year with Corey Mace coming to town.
I should mention this. The viewer, who is it here? Monty in Saskatoon writes in and says, are the teams doing anything for Craig Smith? Now, I would think that they will, and I don't know if you've had history with Craig Smith. Like, he was a friend of mine, and sometimes you don't realize how big a deal these guys are. I was surfing the Newswire the other day, and a story came up on Craig Smith. Longtime CFL scout and personnel man Craig Smith passes away at age 69, which was on Sunday, just a couple of days ago. And he did work for the Riders and the Bombers. So proud of both those organizations. Dave, did you have any brushes with him? I got to think that you did.
Yeah, probably one of my very first appearances on your show at the old studios in Regina. Craig was on, and we've always been like message buddies through Facebook Messenger and things like that ever since that, and always liked his stuff. And like everybody was pulling for him, and the more I messaged, the more I learned about what he did, and looking at now and posthumously the impact he's had on so many teams and the Canadian Football League. He was a great man.
Well, I don't know what the teams are going to do, but let's just say I would be stunned if he was not recognized on the Jumbotron prior to the Labor Day Classic and the Banjo Bowl, because he had such a huge impact with both teams. And also the BC Lions sent out a really nice note. I'm sure you saw it this week as well, on Craig winning a Grey Cup with them in 2000, and said that he represented their team with dignity and class. And I thought, wow, whoever crafted that is very good at what they do and must have known Craig. Dave, to the time we have left here, the National Football League, we had Blaine wrote in and said Adam Thielen has been reacquired by the Minnesota Vikings. That's, I think, since we've been on air. Your thoughts on the Purple Skull as we get ready for the new season?
as doing my prep just on the last segment, I said, that's been bubbling for the last few days. Obviously the premier receiver in the National Football League, Justin Jefferson, JJ, and it's going to be fun watching JJ to JJ. But you need more than weapons, because sometimes there's 2 or 3 guys covering Jefferson. So yeah, Adam Thielen, which makes me very happy because I can wear my Adam Thielen jersey again to the Vikings games with no additional cost. But again, first season, the pedigree that JJ McCarthy brings to the team. We're just going to see what happens. Like, we don't know. It's the unknown. It's a much, much different game that we all know from college to pro football. But, the interesting thing is, with the injury to him last year, to him to sit back and watch. And again, that's such a different game. The speeds of the game, the college game, the professional game, for him to maybe have that whole year to be a student and not have any kind of a pressure on him whatsoever. Nobody on the back, and nobody in the, in the stands, or nobody in the press box pointing, hey, this guy should be in, this guy should be in. He could soak it all in. And from what I understand, he's a student of the game. And we're going to see, like you said, didn't play much in the preseason, and that's by design. And the Minnesota Vikings had to make a move. They decided we don't have a strong enough backup in acquiring former North Dakota Bison Carson Wentz. So he has a little bit of a tie, because that's only 3 hours away from him, or from us, and then only 4 hours away from the Twin Cities. So it's going to be interesting to see how the quarterback situation and that 1-2 punch now we can do. And then with Thielen and Justin Jefferson, it's going to be a great year, I think.
Well, you know what we're really going to find out here, and we have a lot of Vikings fans who watch this show. I have a lot of Viking fan friends. We're going to find out, Kevin O'Connell's the head coach, right? We're going to find out how much he had to do with the Sam Darnold success last year. Was it Sam Darnold? Was it Kevin O'Connell? You know what I mean? Because with JJ, I love him from the Michigan days, but this, I would think there's a little bit of nervousness going in on behalf of the Vikings fans and maybe the Vikings themselves, because you don't know how this kid's going to do. Nobody knows.
The unknown. Completely. It's the unknown. And but I do think because they've had that success. The Vikings have had that success with that bubbling, and then last year when we saw Kirk Cousins injury causing the season-ending injury. And you've seen this with other guys coming off the bench with the Minnesota Vikings, and then they just basically had a successful season, didn't win anything, but the season wasn't a total loss. And then they say, okay, McCarthy's our guy. Sam, gone, right? You're gone. Thanks a lot. Here's your last check, and we'll see what happens.
Laverne in Swift Current, he's always got the great questions. Laverne writes in and says, hey, if there's time, let's get Dave, the sports doctor's pick, as who's his surprise team in the NFL for the upcoming season, because we've been asking all of our NFL pundits on the air. I guess you're an NFL pundit, Dave, now. And not to lob you a grenade here. I think you can handle it. But who do you think will be the surprise team in the NFL this year?
It's hard to say, because looking at the odds and stuff, and Baltimore's up there, and the Detroit Lions I think the odds they may be third spot in there, and Buffalo's always up in there. I don't know. I'm going to stick my neck out and say the surprise team will be the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow. Well, let's delve into that for a second. They're coming off a 15. How many wins they have? 14 wins last year? 14 wins.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you say surprise, they were the surprise team in a lot of ways last year. What do you think the win total will be this year?
Yeah. Surprise would be because I believe they'll go a little deeper in the playoffs. That's where I think that's what will be, because we'll see some, like you've said, just like when I talked about the Saskatchewan Roughriders bubbling. I think this will be the year that you could go deep. You could maybe see them in the NFC Championship game.
Well, for your sake, I hope so. And the Super Bowl. I made my Super Bowl pick in my weekend newsletter, and I've said Detroit, Buffalo. You just go look at the power rankings, though. It is a murderer's row of really good teams in the NFC alone. Lions, Vikings, Eagles. I kind of wonder where my Dallas Cowboys are going to fit in, which, by the way, have you watched the Netflix series America's Team?
No, I'm on quarterbacks right now. So the Cowboys one will be my next view, but I'm on probably 2 episodes deep into quarterbacks, and that's fantastic.
Okay, well, that'll be next on my list because I just finished the Dallas Cowboys documentary, and everybody wants to talk about it. I'm also soliciting people's opinions on the series. Who do you like out of the two, Jerry Jones or Jimmy Johnson? I know you probably hate the Dallas Cowboys. Most people do. But everybody seems to have an opinion on that drama. We got 2 minutes left, Dave. Give me a Jets update. I'm sure they can't wait for the training camp to open.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season, that's for sure. Jonathan Taves, part of the Winnipeg Jets lineup. Nikolai Ehlers is no longer. He's a Carolina member of the Carolina Hurricanes. Can they replace the dynamic play of Nikolai Ehlers will be the storyline going into this season because although 10 years with Winnipeg, he had some spectacular seasons. It's probably might have been saying that he might have been unfulfilled potential. Like he never really became the league superstar that I think a lot of people thought, but he was a damn good player. And then Jonathan Taves, nothing can take away with that guy with the Stanley Cup championships, the leadership that he brings to this team, but can he go on the ice and can the Jets replace Nikolai Ehlers? We've got the goaltending, you got solid defense. There's like minimal changes this year, but Ehlers with that will be the dynamic factor. Are they able to replace the firepower of Ehlers?
A quick yes or no. Will Ehlers be booed when Carolina comes through town?
I don't think he'll be booed. He's not in that Jacob Trouba type of a player like that league. That he never he's explained it nicely. That it's just for me time to move on. Like it was just like saying I've been 10 years here. It's time to love. He said all the right things on the way out, and there's no reason because he was he's a pretty good part of the community. Like a lot of people would see the guy walking his dog, and he always had time for everybody. So I think he's one of those nice guys. And
like you. We're out of time. Thank you, David. See you Saturday night. The sports doctor, Dave Petrishen. Thanks for coming on, my guy. Always enjoy my time with him. We'll be back with a sports update, viewer takeover the rest of the way right here on Game Plus TV.
Famoso Italian Pizzeria and Bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. As I felt like saying a Football Friday continues, but it's not a Football Friday. We're live from the beautiful Western Dodge showroom in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and I thank them for having us, and thank you for coming on board with the RP show this summer. It's just been fantastic. I'm not particularly ready for it to end, but great people down here. Come on down and check them out for yourself in North Moose Jaw. Okay, a lot of things going on this Wednesday. And that's what's awesome about daytime television, particularly when it's live. Let's get to the break. We all kinds of breaking news, and I'm a little rocked by the last item, which I'm going to get to obviously in a second. But first, the Minnesota Vikings have reacquired veteran wide receiver Adam Thielen from the Carolina Panthers. The Vikings traded draft picks for Thielen, who has the third most catches in franchise history. The team needed more depth after losing Rondale Moore to a season-ending knee injury and Jordan Addison to a 3-game suspension. Thielen is a native of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. He became a success story after starting in 2013 as an undrafted player. He made 2 Pro Bowls with the Vikings. The 35-year-old still lives in Minnesota and has worked out with new Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy over the past 2 summers. Meanwhile, Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has been suspended for 6 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy, according to a person with knowledge of the decision. This suspension follows his guilty plea to 2 third-degree felony charges related to a 2024 crash in Dallas. And here's the one that's really caught my eye. And you won't care. A lot of you won't care. But I do. And my friends in my circle will. Matthew Caldwell is stepping down as the business operations president of the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers and accepting a 10-year deal as CEO of the NBA's Minnesota Timberwolves and the WNBA's Minnesota Lynx. The teams announced the deal today. Caldwell will begin overseeing day-to-day business operations and high-level strategic initiatives for the Timberwolves, Lynx, and the G League's Iowa Wolves on September the 2nd. More on that in a second. Brought to you by Seat Giant, our sports updates. Stop paying U.S. dollars, pardon me, for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. Why this is significant is for a couple of reasons. I know Matt Caldwell. I don't know him well, but I've met him a couple of times at American Bank Arena in Sunrise. And let's put it this way. You trust me, right? That's why you're watching this show. As much as Bill Zito was responsible for the success on the ice for the Florida Panthers, Matthew Caldwell is the reason for the success off of the ice. Now, he's been with the Panthers for a long time. It's not in that story. But he's a West Point guy. He's a military guy, just like the owner, Vincent Viola. That's why Matthew Caldwell had the job. And I do a lot of work with the military in the mental health space, so I know how they roll. Vegas Golden Knights are run under the same thing because Bill Foley's a West Point guy. And what have I been saying? If you've been watching this show for ever since I went to Florida, now coming up on 5 seasons ago, how first class the Panthers are, how they've opened their doors to me. And literally, because I knocked on their door and said, hey, I'm coming from Canada, starting this show. Can we work together? Panthers said, we'll look you up. We'll look you up and get back to you. I'm like, that's the last I'll hear from them. Next day, they called me and said, let's work together. Now, it wasn't Matthew Caldwell, but it was his people. And I've been talking for years about their culture there. Culture wins. Good cultures do anyways. So for Matthew Caldwell, who is a Northeastern guy, he's not from South Florida. Nobody really is. I say bravo. Congratulations. The Minnesota Timberwolves are getting a great one here. The Panthers will, my guess, promote from within. I could probably name the guy right now that they will hire. But everybody gives the credit to Bill Zito. Very few give the credit to Matthew Caldwell. And he's moving on from the Florida Panthers. I want to say he started there in about 2013. So he's been there a long time, handling all aspects of Florida Panthers business and doing it with class, treating people well. And that includes a little peon like me. So as I head back to Florida, Matthew Caldwell won't be there. He's gone fast. What a day in sports, man. We'll be right back. We're live here. Overtime coming up next. Get your last comments in for the day. Live from Western Dodge and Moose Jaw, 902-518-3033. We're live on Game Plus TV, streaming, podcast, and 1700 AM Mission Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge and Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back, everybody, for Overtime, proudly brought to you by our longtime partners, Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where for a limited time only, they've got their memberships on BOGO. Buy one, get one, $99 a month, unlimited lane time. Just go down there and check it out and tell them the RP show sent you. Look up Randy and Michelle. It's an amusement park for hockey players. Their monthly and yearly memberships are on buy one, get one. You're going to be going anyways. A lot funner taking a friend. Check them out at 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Okay, well, this, I don't know about you, but this has gone fast today, live here at Western Dodge. And we'll be back a time or two before we shut her down for the summer and head back to Florida. But they've been so wonderful to us, the official vehicle supplier of the RP show. Thank you so much here in Western Dodge and Moose Jaw. I'm looking at the messages that have come in on streaming. You know what we do here in Overtime. It's my last time and your last time to communicate with each other before we call it a day. 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge on the text line. I have not put a ton of thought into a Super Bowl pick, but what I did say was Detroit Buffalo. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in, he says, I agree on the Lions, Rod, the next America's team, but who they face in the Super Bowl, I have no guess. It's wide open in the AFC. The one thing that scares me for the Lions is they've lost both coordinators. The offensive coordinator went to the Bears. The defensive coordinator went to the Jets. That's not a small thing, but I do have faith in Dan Campbell, the head coach. I do have faith in the quarterback, Jared Goff, I do. And there's still that hunger of they didn't get to the top of the hill last year. So I think the Lions are still going to be a good team. I know a lot of people are saying the Eagles. Jim Barker is saying a Super Bowl preview will be his match. And I'm sure you're impressed with Jim Barker's take, Tony. And the Bills, they got to win one of these years, don't they? Terry in Calgary writes in. Terry, the lawyer. He says, hi, Rod. I was tied up with a bit of surgery and then recouping. There's nothing better than the RP show for that. Thank you. Thank you, Terry, for watching and noticing. And we'll always be here every day, noon Eastern, live on Game Plus TV, replayed at 4 p.m. Eastern on Game Plus TV. And that's super cool. Jeff, the Stamps fan, I still think is here. You clearly missed yesterday's show, Jeff, and that's okay. Number one, you asked what's happening on September 29th, and that's the first day that we began airing daily on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network in Las Vegas, daily at 6 p.m. Pacific, part of Fox 5 Las Vegas, and we're very excited and grateful for that. And I should tell you, tomorrow, Mike Davis will be with us as our Hour 2 guest. Mike Davis is the coach and general manager of the Las Vegas Nighthawks. I smile because Mike is a longtime friend of mine. And when he got that job in Vegas, it's my never thought about this. He called me. He goes, you're coming with me. And I said, to do what? He goes, you're going to be my assistant GM and broadcaster. And through a variety of things and reasons, it didn't happen. We couldn't make it happen. But that just tells you how good a friend Mike Davis is of mine. He'll be on with us tomorrow to preview the CFL Labor Day weekend, the NFL season, and talk about his championship season. Now, I was mentioning the Panthers and Vincent Viola, the owner there, being a military guy. In Vegas, Bill Foley is the owner of the Nighthawks and the Golden Knights. He's a military guy, too. And Mike tells me a lot of what goes on there. And when they got that expansion team in Las Vegas, the people told Bill Foley, Bill goes, who do I need to hire to run this team? People said, you need one guy, Mike Davis. And Mike delivered a championship in, I think, year 3. But he'll be with us tomorrow to talk about it. Married a good Regina gal, Renee. Just a good guy, Mike Davis. Anyways, the reason I said you weren't clearly watching yesterday, Jeff the Stamps fan, is he says, congratulations to Flames host Ryan Leslie on moving on to the Maple Leafs. Ryan got his start on Global Calgary. I think Ryan had a job before Global Calgary, but I'm not entirely sure. But we talked about this yesterday. And if things slow down, I don't know whether they will or not, but I would love to get Ryan on the air ahead of the NHL season to talk about that. When the news broke that we were going to air in Las Vegas on, Friday we talked about it on this show. I put it on my social media on Sunday. My phone's been ringing off the hook from every broadcaster under the sun. Some employed, a lot not, wanting to be part of that. Doesn't surprise me. Does that surprise you, producer Corey? Probably not. He's like, no. Yeah. You snooze, you lose. Or as the lady said on the cruise when we were coming back from the Bahamas to Fort Lauderdale, you lose, you snooze. Jeff says, very exciting, Rod. Congratulations. Thank you. It is very exciting. Wayne Werbavetsky writes in. He says, Taylor Elgersma has to be reminded that Nathan Rourke was given the runaround, and after being bounced by Jacksonville, then the Giants, does he really want to waste his time on the Packers practice roster? That's entirely up to the kid. And I appreciate you, Wayne, for writing in, but let's say it's not 2005 anymore, and it darn sure isn't 1985. You know what a practice roster gig pays? It's 6 figures now, U.S. USD is a really big deal. In case you didn't know. He's young. It's just out of Wilfrid Laurier. If he's got the chance to make some USD and learn in the NFL, I mean, it's up to each individual person. There are guys, John Ryan comes to mind as the guy that said the only difference between the CFL and the NFL is the money. And I think he still feels that way. I see a lot of other differences. I do. And maybe it's something that would be a good chat to get into with Mike Davis tomorrow. The pressure is astronomical in the NFL for these guys. You all just see the salary. You don't see what goes with it. And the CFL doesn't have the salary, but it also doesn't have the pressure. It doesn't. Sorry to say. So we've uncovered a lot of things. We just started talking about a lot of things. We'll finish it up tomorrow when we come back with Mike Davis, and Scruffy will be with us. Yeah, Scott, do you want to play or hold a clipboard? I'd hold a clipboard for enough money. See you tomorrow.
Now I'm the whore and the pimp. That's where the money is.
How about that?